Hello and welcome. This is General Chemistry 1, Chemistry 1100 in the fall 2021 semester for students in Section 1 and Section 2. So my name is Patrick Lloyd, and I'm going to be the instructor for this course. I'll be doing the lecture and laboratory component. I'm going to be putting announcements on Blackboard, and every time I send an announcement on Blackboard, it should go to your Kingsborough email address. So check that frequently. Okay, I'm not planning on using any of the Blackboard discussion boards or the messaging systems that either Blackboard or the Alex system uses. So try to contact me via either my cell number or this email address here, patrickofkings@gmail.com, or my cell at 347-249-5676. I do have WhatsApp, Signal, and Telegram, those three, so you can reach me via one of those as well. Okay. So I want to spend a little bit of time going over the syllabus here. We are going to have some weekly online meetings, which are being done in an asynchronous mode in a sense, so you don't have to attend them. But they will be live, so you can tune in if you want to. You can do it some days and not others if you're interested. Whatever you want to do. I will record them and post them onto YouTube, so you can also watch them that way and watch them as many times as you want. So they will be on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays in the morning from 9:30 to 10:30 a.m. The meeting information is, the ID is 761-534-4943. And then the password is always the same, MEET, meet, all lowercase. I will post them to YouTube. It usually takes a little while to get it uploaded onto YouTube and formatted, but by the end of the day, it should be done. And these are hour-long lectures, so they don't take quite as long to upload as a 2-hour lecture. It is optional, and it's not used in the attendance in these lectures is not used in the calculation of your grade. Office hours is done on request on Zoom using the same ID and the same password. Just get in touch with me, contact me, and we'll arrange a meeting for office hours if you're interested. Okay. The materials that you need for the course, you're going to, of course, need some sort of computer, a tablet, a smartphone, hopefully all of them with a browser and some sort of word processor like Microsoft Word, and you'll probably want to have a scientific calculator as well. The online learning system is called ALEKS, A-L-E-K-S. The website is right here, aleks.com. You can purchase it directly. I recommend purchasing it directly through ALEKS, which is owned by McGraw-Hill. It's $88 for 12 months access. So if you are going to take Chemistry 1200, you could roll it over in the next year into Chemistry 1200 for that $88. Okay. If you already purchased it for Chem 100 and used it perhaps this summer or last spring, the same account should still be active at least for another 6 to 9 months. Okay. You can purchase it through the bookstore. However, the bookstore does mark it up by about 30%. So that'll be another extra $25 to $30. Let's see. It's based on the textbook Chemistry 5th edition by Julia Burge, published by McGraw-Hill Education. So the material that I'm going to be lecturing on is predominantly based on ALEKS, but the ALEKS is actually, in a sense, based on this textbook right here. So that is part of the purchase, is you get an ebook. And if you want to have a physical copy, there is a method for getting one through ALEKS. You can, when you go through the purchasing options, it'll come up for an extra fee that you can get a loose leaf. It's like $40 or something like that. But you could also just go on to bookfinder.com and type in, Chemistry by Julia Burge, Doesn't matter really if you get the 5th edition, you could get the 3rd edition, the 4th edition, 3rd edition you probably get for $10. 4th edition you probably get for $40, and then 5th edition would probably be like 80 to $100. So it's up to you how you want to do that. Okay. Let's see here. Of course, you want to have a Zoom account. Instructions for creating a Zoom account are right here on YouTube. This is important information here. When you do go register for Alex, I did post a couple videos to Blackboard, or not to Blackboard, but to YouTube on registering for Alex, but that is an old video. So it doesn't use the correct course code for your course. It's for a previous semester. So when you're asked for the class code, it's this one right here. It starts with an N and ends with a Q, okay? That's the class code, you need that. It's listed here as well, okay? It should have this information here when you are going through that registration process. If you need a few days or a week or up to 2 weeks to get the money to pay for the book, to pay for Alex, then there is a way to get 2 weeks used where they front you the first 2 weeks, and that's called financial aid code. That's this number right here. You put that in there, and that will delay for 2 weeks having to put the money in there. There's an error in here. It says $85, but it's actually, they've upped it to $88. Okay. Okay, what kind of software do you need? Well, you need the Alex, of course, and you need a browser, and you need Blackboard, a browser for Blackboard. For laboratory reports, for those of you that are going to be doing laboratories in the remote learning and asynchronous mode, I recommend Microsoft Word. Now, you do get what's called Microsoft Office 360 as a CUNY student. The CUNY negotiated something with Microsoft. It's not the kind that you get to download onto your computer. It's the online version, but it is Microsoft Office, and that includes Microsoft Word and Microsoft Excel and Microsoft PowerPoint, and those are all useful for certain things. Of course, you need to be able to email and stuff like that, and then Zoom as well. So those, that's all the software that you really need. You can also, use, instead of Microsoft Word, you can use Google Docs, which is drive.google.com, as long as you have a Gmail account. If you don't, just create a Gmail account. And there is an option for downloading your files that you create. So if you write a laboratory report, you can download it, even if you have Google Docs. Here's what we're going to cover in this course. Several chapters, roughly the first half of the textbook. We're going to start with chapter 3, stoichiometry. That's our first week. And then we're going to go through chapter 4, 5, 10, 6, 8, 9, and a little bit of 11 at the end. Okay. So what you want to do is focus on reading the textbook, trying the little practice problems that are in there, and getting better at solving problems. But that's the core material that we're going to cover. There are many videos now that I've put on YouTube for you to watch as you desire. Okay, the folder, here's a link to the folder for your course. Okay, so the videos that I'm creating this semester, so that'd be the lectures. They're going to go in here, right? But there's a bunch of, I also put them into these folders. So there's actually a lot of videos over the last, year and a half. I've created a lot of videos. So each chapter has a lot. So some of them are lectures on the materials, if you want to watch lectures. Some of them are lectures on particular problems, solving particular example problems in the textbook. Okay, so all the sample problems have been covered. There's little videos that last anywhere from 5 to 20 minutes on those. The lectures generally are an hour to an hour and a half. I also put all of the lectures from the summer and even last spring for this course. So actually, if you wanted to, you could work ahead and watch these videos, because the whole course, I'm just essentially redoing the whole course again, right? So all of the lectures from chapter 3 all the way through chapter 9 and 10 and 11 are actually, you know, for last spring are right there, and then for last summer are right there as well. So you can watch these videos if you're interested in. And then in this folder right here, this semester's videos will be going. I'll also be putting them in here as well as they go along. So a little bit about Alex. Alex is primarily homework, but it's also exams. So the homework, a little bit of terminology you have to get used to. There's some terms that are used under Alex, okay? So Alex has what they call, a homework assignment is called an objective. So like this assignment, assignment 1 or assignment 2 is called objective, okay? And each objective has several different types of problems, which are called topics. So if you look at chapter 3 here, this is objective chapter 3, which is actually your first objective. And the number of topics, 22, that's 22 different types of problems. That's a lot, right? So you have until Sunday, September 26th at the end of the evening, right? So coming right up to midnight of that Sunday. So you have a couple of weeks to do that one. And then you have essentially 2 weeks for all of them, except this last one, chapter 9, which is actually extra credit. It's optional, it's extra credit. I do recommend it, and it can help your grade, but that one is due the 15th. It's actually due on a Thursday, okay? The first one has the most topics. The number of topics, you know, roughly anywhere from, you know, 15 to 20 is essentially the idea. But those are essentially your graded homework assignments, okay? So these are the graded homework assignments. And as you can see, there's 7 of them. They do have deadlines. Whatever part of the assignment, whatever part of the objective you finish, you will get credit for that, okay? So if you do a bunch of them, but you didn't finish them all, you know, like out of these 22 topics, let's say you did 11 of them, you would still get 50% credit for that, even if you didn't do the other 11 on time, okay? But you want to try to stay that, you know, most of your grading for this course is the homework. So you want to make sure that you get that stuff done, that you want to prioritize, okay? The problems are set up, they go in a particular order that might be a little bit different for each student because it kind of learns what you're doing and what you're, you know, what you already know. And, but it makes you do each problem 3 times. That way you can't just sort of guess once, get it right, and then move on. You have to be able to do it. You have to be able to get it right. So you have to do it 3 in a row. Once you get it 3 in a row, then you move on to the next topic. Once you got all the topics done, then you can move on to the next objective. So you can move ahead. You can move forward to higher and higher objectives, to later and later objectives earlier. It's just that you have to finish one objective before you can go on to the next. So you can't like do 20 out of 22 and then say, okay, now I want to work on chapter 4. You got to get this one done until the deadline. Once the deadline's over, then it's going to lock you out of this one and move you into this one. And, you know, that's sort of how it works. Okay. Let's see. If you get it wrong, that's fine. You don't get penalized for getting them wrong. It's just that you have to get them right 3 times in a row. Okay. But you could get it wrong 10 times. I mean, eventually what it does is it says take a break. But if you get it wrong, you don't, it's not like it lowers your score. It's just, it insists that you have to get it right eventually. Okay. Those due dates. And then here's a little discussion about that. Like if you got 11 out of 22 topics in one objective, you get 50% on that one. Okay. There are knowledge checks. So at the beginning, there's something called an initial knowledge check. And the initial knowledge check is just going to try to figure out what you already know. You may already know some of these things. And if you do, it's going to give you credit for them so that you don't have to work on them. Isn't that cool? So if you took Chem 100, you probably did chapter 3. So you might be able to get, you know, 22 out of 22 topics on the initial knowledge check. And then it would be like, boom, we're putting you right into chapter 4. Okay. So or maybe you didn't take Chem 100 and you don't know any chemistry. If that's the case, you know, you'll probably get 0 out of 22 topics on that initial knowledge check. It just means you're going to have you learn that material, and that's perfectly fine. We don't have the expectation that you know how to do chemistry yet. You're learning that in this course. Okay. There are some there are some other additional knowledge checks that pop up every once in a while. I think there's one scheduled for the end of chapter 4 and chapter 10. And then again, that's just sort of is what it does is it says, look, do you really know how to do this anymore? Like it's been 2 weeks. Maybe you really don't know how to do it anymore. So we're gonna have you to see if you can do it. And if you can't, it's just gonna, it doesn't take away your original credit. It just makes you kind of practice some more on it. Okay. There are exams. These will also be on Alex. And again, it's done asynchronously. Here are the deadlines, okay, or due dates, whatever term you want to use, right? So the first exam for chapter 3 is Sunday, September 26th, again at midnight. So I've made all the deadlines line up at the same time. So like the homework, the exam, and the lab report are all have the same due date. That way it's not confusing. Is this on Monday and that one on Sunday? There, you know, it should be pretty consistent. Essentially every 2 weeks on a Sunday night is when something is going to be due, okay? And there's only 6 exams. So the last chapter, chapter 9, you don't get tested on. There is no test for that. And so the last exam is chapter 8, and that is Sunday, December 5th, okay? It's around 10 to 15 questions. You have an hour, so you only get an hour for it, but most people find they can get it done in about an hour, and that's not a problem, okay? So those are your 6 exams. The problems are very similar to the ones you're doing in your homework, and there are practice exams in there. The practice exams are, they are optional, and I have them open for the whole semester. So you can practice exam for chapter 3 as, you know, as many times as you want. And the same as for chapter 6 or chapter 8, you can practice them, but they don't count for or against your grade. They're just there to give you an idea of what an exam would be like. They are longer. The practice exams are longer than the regular exams. There are more problems, but you know, you'll find the actual exams are shorter. Okay. Let's see. If you start wondering about due dates and stuff like that, you can refer to the syllabus. But if you want to use the calendar function, which isn't great, the calendar function on Alex isn't awesome. But what happens is it generally defaults to a week-long view. So you're not seeing the due dates except for this week. So it might look like nothing's due. But you change it to a month-long view, then you'll have a little bit more. You'll see, oh yeah, oh, that's next Sunday, and that's the Sunday after. So you can do that. And again, there is a practice exam for each exam. You can use them to practice, but they do not count towards your grade. When you take an exam, the ebook is dysfunctional. It turns off, so you can't use the ebook during exams. Here's how the grading works, right? So the homework, so what are the homework? The homework are these objectives, right? That I talked about here, those 7 objectives. That's 70% of your grade. Did I get that right? Yes, let me make sure the math works out here. That's 70% of your grade, okay? So if you just did the homework, didn't do any lab reports, and didn't take any exams, and you got 100 on all the homework, you get 70% in the course right there. Each exam, which is 1 chapter each, is 4% of the course grade, okay? So 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, that adds up to 94. And then the lab assignments add up to 6% total. Okay, so that's going to give you a total of 94 plus 6 is 100%. Okay. A's are, you take all of this, what's your overall percentage? If it's between 88 and 100, you just get an A. If it's between 73 and 87, you get a B. If it's between 50 and 72, you get a C. And if it's below 50, you get an F. Okay. Course percent, this is how you figure out your overall. 45% times your Alex Pi score, which will appear in your Alex gradebook. You just look these numbers up. 0.25 or 25% times your objectives average, plus 2.4 times your exam average, plus 0.06 times your laboratory average. And that'll give you your overall, which then you can compare here. Here's some additional optional problems for practice at the end of the chapters for each textbook, for each chapter in the textbook. Okay, those are all there for your interest. Here's some links. And then these are the learning objectives for the course. And then that's it. So I didn't really talk about the laboratory. I will talk about the laboratory in a separate video because it does depend on which mode you registered for. So if you're in the LA, you're doing remote laboratories. And if you did the LB, then you're doing the in-person laboratories. And they are similar, yet at the same time, they are different. Okay, so I'll pop up a video on that relatively soon. Okay, let's see, anything else in here? Nope. All right, great. So I look forward to communicating with you, talking with you at some point this semester, or seeing you in person this semester. Take care, and I hope this semester goes great for you.